Growing up, knowing how my father was in and out of jail, knowing he was affected by his father, alcoholism, grandmother, which was his mother, very angry a lot. What I tend to do is turn negatives into positives. So knowing how he was raised and how he came up, and my determination was the cycle will be broken. That was my mind when I became a father.
I grew up in an era where men don't cry or show their feelings, and it was like admitting that I couldn't do it by myself. I would take parenting classes. I would take addiction recovery counseling. I would go to therapy. Wherever there was anything that I thought could help me change my attitude or change the way I thought, my belief system. I was trying to be a part of it and get from it whatever I could.
The relationship with my father as he's in prison and as I'm coming up, I was very fortunate because I had his parents, which was my paternal grandparents. So with me having them, I was being taught, regardless, right and wrong, what I need to do, school and everything else. But as far as the relationship with my father, he was my father regardless. No matter where he was, they took me to the prisons, no matter where it was. And I appreciated that. They were upfront with me, let me know where he was, why he was there. And to me, I took it as an educational process, knowing why he was there, what I needed not to do, so I wouldn't end up being there myself.
From 78 to 80 the first time. Okay. In 1970, wow, I believe it was just after he was born. He is pretty much an exception to the rule when it comes to how he received and dealt with my absence. And I still know that it affected him. The same cannot be said for his two younger brothers. One of which I tried to get to be here because he is extremely angry with me. And we just recently started talking after 7 years. And my second oldest son, who I affected by not being there, he is now in prison. He's forgiven me, he said. Yet I still know that he's still angry as well. And I have to live with that, how I impacted my kids' lives and how it has turned out.
From going incarcerated to coming out, it's just been more or less sitting back and just watching my father improve as a man. It's not really affecting me as it's affecting him. Being that upliftment for him is helping him become a better man. I'm somewhat of an influence. But as far as our relationship will be there regardless. Whether he fails, it's going to be me, as I love my father, to pick him back up. Even no matter how old he is, it doesn't matter. He's learning as a man, this is what I need to do. It's on his time. You can't rush it, so he's got to go at his pace and where he's comfortable, and that's what he's doing, and it's working out. The fact that he's older now, the fact that he's getting it together, it's his life. He's making the necessary corrections, and I'm happy for him, and he's getting it together.
When the first time I went to his house and they invited me, I spent Christmas with my grandkids the first time. The greatest gift that I could ever imagine. I couldn't have hoped for anything to be better. It's like years and years of prayers answered. I mean, he was just selfless. He was humble. He was just loving, and all the kids embraced me too, and his wife. I felt like I finally found my family. I'm highly sensitive to putting myself out there and then getting a negative or a response where people take you for granted, right? I became an isolationist. I've kept people at arm's length. I have trust issues. So it's hard for me to let people in. I kept this wall built up, and I didn't know how to tear it down, even for my family and loved ones. And so, he just kept after me, and then finally, it required courage on my part.
How I help him is showing him I'm still his son. I'm still his son. He has grandkids. I open my household to him. There's nothing but pleasant communication. Supporting him when he goes to speak at church, just being there, and that in itself speaks value more than anything to me.
I'm just grateful still that that unconditional love, it allowed me to kind of open up for other people to help me.
So if I mess up, I want my sons, I want my daughters to accept their father and to love their father as well. Because kids, they're watching you and they're paying attention and they don't forget certain things and stuff. They pick and choose what they want to remember, but your kids watch exactly what you do and how you carry yourself. So if daddy messes up, how do I want my kids to receive me? You know what I mean? So that's why it's easy, because my kids are watching and I love my kids and I want my kids to love me as well. So, they watch.
He is the greatest father, I tell you.
Thank you, man.
I don't know how he fits so much into a day. I don't know how he does it. I want to be like him when I grow up.